Hello, everybody, and welcome back to round number 3 of week 6 of the PSS5. I'm Michael Hoyp. Flint has returned. That's what we're saying. How's it going, Flint?
Hi, everybody. It's
Yeah,
going well. It's good to be back. It's
yeah.
good to be commentating on some Premodern. It's been
Uh,
too long.
Everyone missed you. I got letters in the mail, and they're saying, "When is Flint coming back?" I got
Oh my
emails.
goodness.
Oh, but yes, direct messages. It's been wild. Yeah. So
Well, I'm all right, everybody. It's
yeah.
it's okay. I appreciate the concern. It's very kind.
We have a match between Michael Arnold and Jeff White. Let's jump down and see their decks. Since we are in our third week rotation, their decks are determined, but Mike Arnold has brought the Star Spangled Slaughter, Dead Guy Ale, and Natural Order Rock Dark Secret. He is playing the Star Spangled Slaughter tonight, while Jeff White has Red Green Goblins, the Parallax Replenish combo, and Survival Elves, where he is playing Survival Elves. So, a matchup you've at least played once, I know. The Star Spangled Slaughter against Survival Elves. Let's jump down to the deck list. We will start with Mike Arnold's list, Star Spangled Slaughter. Why don't you talk about this deck and kind of how its role in this matchup?
I've never heard of Star Spangled Slaughter before.
Yeah.
I only ever heard of Angel McAngel Face.
Okay.
But yeah, this looks pretty familiar. Um, Looking over his list, it is slightly different than the one that I played in the monthly when I played against Elves in the finals. And honestly, I felt pretty lucky to win the finals. My opponent had to mull to 4, I think, in the last 3 games that we played, and I ended up winning those after being down 0-2. So when I come into this match, I think, oh God, Mike's going to have a bit of an uphill battle. But I do think his deck is a little bit better than mine was. So it's probably going to be a little bit closer. And I know that a certain Spike Colony podcast predicted that perhaps the red, white, blue deck is a little favored here, but I don't think so. I mean, I see all the removal, I understand, but this deck just breaks down like so easily. And if Elves has a really fast start and Mike can't interact with it, especially with his survival, he's in big trouble. But if he gets a good mana base, he gets some counter spells, he can keep the survival off the table, then he's got a really good shot. So I think it's really just going to come down to whether or not Jeff can land a survival of the fittest.
I will say, I mean, like, he does have a number of ways of interacting with the survival, whether it's preemptively with a meddling mage or actually just countering it with cards, blue counterspell. Though I will note, getting blue on turn 2 is not trivial with this list. And Mike understands that. I think he thinks of it more of a late game play of answering a later threat,
Yeah.
because the mana, you have to be pretty lucky, I think, to get blue with this list. So that might not necessarily be an angle that he can lean on, but it might come up. We'll see. But yeah, so he does at least have some ways of interacting with survival, and then also, I mean, like, there are 2 disenchants. If Jeff has to like tap out to sneak in a survival, then might get lucky, might be able to sneak in a disenchant. We'll see. But I'll bring up Jeff's list. So this is something that is it weird to say that like this deck has like waxed and waned in popularity? I mean, like, it definitely was like public enemy number 1 for a while, and then I think we had a rise of Parfait Oath and Stifle Knot that, like, I don't know if it's because of matchups or if metagame shifts or just a trending thing, but I feel like Survival Elves had been on the downswing for a while. But what it's trying to do is put out a number of mana creatures with the elves, and then if it gets Survival of the Fittest in play, it has access to a decent combo chain, especially if it has a card like Priestess Titania in play. It has access to a lot of mana, but discarding cards like Anger and then getting Deranged Hermit can have you attack for good amounts of damage. The combo can get like more complicated than that, depending on the access to the mana that Jeff would have, but which we might go into more details if it comes up. But the deck is certainly very powerful. The ceiling on this deck is really, really high. A lot of powerful things. But yeah,
I,
the deck is full of creatures with 1 toughness, and Mike Arnold does have Lightning Bolts, Fire Ices, and Swords of Plowshares. So
Yeah, I think Jeff's dream hand here is to keep a hand that has survival and a spirit guide and just to run it out underneath counter magic and then hope that Mike doesn't have one of the two disenchants. And then Jeff can start to grind him from there. And I think he could probably go over the top that way. That would be sort of his best game plan if he can get that in his opening hand.
Yeah, I think the more common use of the Elvish Spirit Guide is to power out a Priest of Titania, but in this matchup, this is not something that you really want to do because of all those removal spells of Swords, Fire Ice, and Lightning Bolt that you don't really want to spend those 2 cards for something that's so easily removed. So yes, I would agree that getting the survival out a turn earlier is not always what the deck is planning on doing with those Elvish Spirit Guides, but I think in this matchup it would be really valuable. All right, let's jump down to the match if you want to let our players know that they can begin. Mike Arnold has won the die roll, so he will be on the play in this match. So,
and they both kept 7.
Okay, we'll see who that favors. I mean, I have to imagine that there's interaction from Mike, and then Jeff thinks he has a pretty powerful hand. All right, starting off with a plane. So our blue counterspell on turn 2 is already out of the picture.
All right, let's see if Jeff's got it.
He's quickly shuffling. He's like, I've been waiting to do this.
Moment of truth.
It's probably just gonna be like a Llanowar Elf, but just okay, not just a Llanowar Elf. Won't sell this guy short. It's a Finhorn Elf.
That's right. That's a Finhorn Elf. We're friends of the Finhorn Elf here on this channel. That's right. Dirty Joe Kearney. So Mike Arnold naming survival here.
Okay. I mean, that is probably the best sequence I think that he would want on the draw. I mean, cutting out the survival is like I said, the ceiling is very high on the Elves deck, and I think that always includes the survival lines. It's not that Jeff's deck doesn't do anything when there's no survival, but it certainly makes it so like it has to play a much fairer game. Is that a Multani's Acolyte that's been summoned?
It is.
So 2 mana will draw a card. Jeff will have the option to pay for the Echo, which could be something. I guess it's funny, like when you see the Acolyte like on his face, you think about it drawing cards and like you never want to pay the Echo, but here, like, there's a lot of times you're like, oh, I'm up against a 2/2. This 2/1 is like perfectly what I just like will happily spend my mana just to keep in play. I can start attacking with it, or I can keep it to block. But yeah, Jeff spent the mana, and then unfortunately for him, it was met with a Fire Ice. So got rid of not only the Multani's Acolyte, but the Finhorn Elf that was used to cast it.
Yep. Pretty great opener here for Mike Arnold. Things are definitely going his way. We have another Multani's Acolyte. Acolyte.
Did the Bedley Mage not get to attack? Did Mike just forget that?
I guess no. Or did Jeff just play? I think he just played a third forest and cast the Acolyte.
No, because the turn before Jeff paid the Echo. Oh, yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So the second Multani's Acolyte was in the same turn. I was thinking that a turn had gone by. Okay.
Wirewood Symbiote is the name for the second mage.
Okay. That card does a very good job of combating a lot of the spot removal that Mike would have, since you're just able to bounce the elf. It usually means that you have to get rid of the Wired Symbiote first, which actually a lot of times isn't that is probably the right play anyways, but is a nice card to prevent from coming into play.
So Jeff's going to go down to 17 here. Is he looking for a mountain? What's going on? He sure is.
Okay. So the mountain has some significance, typically with the survival chains that like you're able to get anger in the graveyard, and the difference between your elves having haste and not is really different. But it looks like we're not in a spot where we're planning to do that, and that the access to the fourth green mana might come up more. That's what I think Jeff has decided. Which if assuming that the meddling mage is not going to leave play, then the mountain I think has a lot less use. All right, that Multani's Acolyte gets to attack. Are either of these meddling mages brave enough to jump in the way? It looks like no. But I mean, I guess that also means that Mike gets to go on the beatdown, right? I guess if you cast 2 elves.
I think he's got another fire ice.
I don't know, but
Uh,
I do think he has other fires.
yeah.
Jeff is sad right now. What what is a magic
I would
card
be
with a sad person on it?
I would be a sad Jeff as well.
So the mage is probably
Here
he got
comes
to
Angel.
he got to untap the Multani's Acolyte thanks to the Hearing Ranger. But yeah, this Lightning Angel coming down. Finally, he's able to apply some pressure. The Multani's Acolyte is not able to hold back that angel.
Yeah, but when he casts Wrath of God, it's going to be a blowout.
Yeah. All right, Jeff will try and rebuild with a Findhorn Elves and a Llanowar Elves, but I don't think that's gonna cut it. Is there like any? I guess if Jeff had a Masticore, that might be enough. Kill the Meddling Mage, get a survival in play, but again, he doesn't have the mountain. I don't know. This angel is not going to give him that much time to.
Yeah, it's not great.
Yeah, so the clock is ticking for Jeff. Gaia's Cradle will give him access, Jeff, to more mana, but he doesn't really have any way to use it. So we have an end of turn impulse. Mike doesn't even need to fetch an island with his flooded strand. He can use the City Brass.
Lightning Bolt on a stick continues to do work here.
Yeah.
The writing might be on the wall here for Jeff.
So yeah, things have gone really smooth for Mike, where he's able to remove all the key creatures and lock out the survival, which kind of just knocks off both points of attack. I think that Jeff would want to have, either going super wide and just attacking Mike down. That wasn't an option thanks to multiple fire irises, and the meddling mage locking out the survival kind of prevents the combo kill. So I would expect a few more attacks with this lightning angel, and maybe like a lightning bolt might just finish off Jeff. Jeff's gonna pause, shuffle his cards around. I might imagine that one of those cards is survival of the fittest.
Or maybe a symbiote.
I guess one card we did not talk about is Biorhythm.
I was thinking about it. I was like,
and there might be a weird world where, because Jeff does have a lot of mana, he has access to 1, 2. So the Cradle taps to 3.
He needs 8.
8. So he would have to tap one of the elves. That would put both players at 3, and he'd be able to attack for 3. But Mike would have 3 blockers. So he would need more elves this turn, and then have Biorhythm. He's attacking. Is Caller the Claw? It's gotta be what it is, right?
It's got 1 in the main.
I think so.
Let me look. Uh, yep, he's got one.
Okay. There's a counter spell for that caller.
And we see the
And
double blue now.
yes, and Jeff packs it up. All right,
Okay.
so
Game two.
the Star Spangled Slaughter, the Angel McAngel face, was
Yeah, there. Yeah, that's right. That's right.
a well-oiled machine, and all its cards lined up very well. Let's take a look at the players' decks and see if sideboards have anything to offer. Two copies of Annul, which could target the survival. This is I can't remember if Jeff is not on a Tanglewire list, I believe. So still would have some merit, I think. Like survival is that important of a card. Two Meltdown, two Phyrexian Furnace, two Pyroblast, two copies of Pyroclasm. That seems very appealing. Two Warmth, one Cleansing Meditation, one Red Elemental Blast, and one Future Sight. So definitely bringing in those Pyroclasms. I think I'm bringing in those Annuls, especially on the draw. Uh, like, do you take out a card like Meddling Mage, or not Meddling Mage? Sorry, Mother of Runes. You need Mother of Runes,
I think I'd take out the three mother runes, and I think that I would probably bring in
or maybe do you
the.
cut Exalted Angel? I don't. I guess
No,
no.
no. I would bring in a Phyrexian Furnace, honestly, because
Okay,
I think Genesis is a real problem.
sure. And
Um,
you could fight Squee too if you need
yeah,
to. Uh,
I actually really like Furnace, so that once like Mike disrupts Jeff, Jeff can't like find a way to grind himself back in the game as easily.
are you bringing a
Um,
card like Furnace above? Like you prioritizing it more than a Null? Like if you could only bring in the Pyroclasms and the two more cards, would you bring in Furnace over a Null? Because okay,
I'm
I take out the Mother of Runes. That's three cards. What else are we looking at to cut? Are you
um
are you cutting Disenchants and putting in a Nulls? I mean, that's
I might
maybe a
shave.
slight upgrade.
I think I might still keep the disenchants. Um, I would probably bring in two Null and one Furnace and two Pyroclasm. I'd probably cut the three Mom, and then I would shave like one Lightning Angel and maybe one Exalted Angel.
Okay. Can you ever, since your deck
Just,
is kind of just full of like all good cards, can you cut the Portents, or do you need those to smooth out your mana?
I think I'd want it to smooth the mana out and also be able to dig a little bit if I'm only bringing in one Furnace.
Okay. I'll bring up the Survival Elves list. Three copies of Tormod's Crypt, a Crumble, four Naturalize, two Null Rod, one Druid Lyrist, one Caller of the Claw, one Uktabi Orangutan, one Elvish Champion, and one Genesis. I do like the Genesis, uh, but really, maybe the Caller of the Claw. But nothing's. I'm not that excited about a lot of these sideboard cards.
Yeah, I just bring in those two.
What cards are you cutting? Are you cutting a Well
I'm
Wisher?
not much of an Elves player, but
Is Well Wisher important? I gotta look at the list. There's probably like I've got a tiny image, so let's see if uh what card doesn't seem appealing. Nantuko Vigilante, does that have any targets? Do you need that? I mean, I guess that one could probably come out. The Well Wisher doesn't seem great per se. I don't know if you're on the biorhythm plan. I don't know if Kamal is too clunky. Those are the cards that jump out. But again, you're not even bringing in that many cards, so
you could probably cut at least one Biorhythm, I would imagine.
I mean, it might be a way to steal a game, but like it's hard to keep. It's hard to like go wide when you know your opponent's bringing in Pyroclasm. So
Yeah,
I guess the one good aspect of the biorhythm is it's kind of a nice out to when your survival of the fittest gets meddling maged, which I think Mike is going to kind of put a priority on mulliganing for. I mean, he's not going to throw away like great hands if he doesn't have a meddling mage, but I think that's probably the card that he wants to see the most.
yeah. I think if Mike's got decent mana and a couple ways to interact, he just snap keeps with that deck.
Okay. I guess the biggest appeal to keeping Mother of Runes in is Uh, if you have a meddling mage in play, it would keep it around after a pyroclasm. But that chat is asking about Mother of Runes. But someone has asked, "What the hell is Star Spangled Slaughter? Is it the solution?" Some might argue yes. Some might argue no.
It's just Angel McAngel face. That's all you need to know. I think I even put it in the document as Angel McAngel face, but you still called it Star Spangled Slaughter when you made the deck list, and I
I
was like,
did.
no.
Well, also like the fluctuator list was called Fluctuator, and I kind
Well,
of
yeah,
like
that's a
there.
little tongue in cheek.
There's just some amount. I'm like I will have some amount of consistency in terms of deck names, and like if like someone named it Replenish, someone named it Parallax Replenish, and I just named them all Parallax Replenish or whatever. So I just try to make things more consistent. But I decided long ago I was just gonna call it Star Spangled Slaughter, and I haven't moved, so I don't feel like anyone's followed in my path, but I continue to call it that deck. All right, well, a turn one Llanowar Elves that stays in play allows.
I think
Uh,
it was a turn 2. Llanowar Elves. I think he spirit guided
oh,
on turn
okay,
1 to play a survival.
okay. So the sequence that you had talked about in game one has happened that Jeff's able to get that survival into play. Take that, meddling mage.
Haha.
All
All
right.
right.
Discards an anger to go get a squee. All right, we're setting things up, and now he still has, yeah, okay. It's funny that it's like both a blessing and a curse that he has this mountain naturally. Like I think you kind of want a lot of green mana to activate the survival, but it's also nice that you naturally had the mountain and the anger. You didn't have to spend he didn't choose to find it with like a wooded foothills.
Mm-hmm. Is he going for a priest here?
That's the only card I can think that cost with a colorless mana for 2. Yes.
Yeah, he is.
He's asking permission. May I have a Priest of Titania, despite Mike Arnold not having his blue mana up. But maybe he's asking, are you gonna fire Icevy? All right, the hasty priest is able to. I guess there's merit to responding to the priest to kill the. Though, if you tap the priest, does that use the stack? I don't even know this. Or is that just a mana ability that you can't react to? I'm asking like
I think it's just a mana ability.
would a remove as a mana source. Okay. So that's where the timing I think of Jeff asking can I have this because of the haste and the removal spells. All right. So Mike is going to point a lightning bolt presumably at this priest, but if Jeff still has an activation of the Curing Ranger, he can untap and now has access to 3 more mana. So a lot of
I think he
survival.
passed it.
Okay,
I think he
pass the
passed
turn.
the turn there too wisely. So he made Michael respond first, so Michael couldn't respond to the activation.
Because the untapping with a Curing Ranger is something you'd be able to respond to with a Lightning Bolt.
Yes.
That one is not a mana source, so.
Yeah. You can't respond to the forest going back to the hand, but the untapping of the Dryad does go on the stack. So now, I mean, obviously get Genesis, right? Or, yeah, I think you just get Genesis here.
Yeah. Genesis or another priest. All right.
Oh, it's a priest.
And he still does have a green mana floating, so if there's a different creature in his hand, he can. The next card I would want to get is. It could just be Deranged Hermit.
Wait, didn't he tap the priest for 3? Or I guess is this not happening at end of turn because he just played a land?
I guess so.
I'm confused when Mike decided to bolt.
Yeah.
I thought maybe he passed the turn expecting interaction and wanted to get a ton of mana.
And that was an
He
attack
just set everything up for next turn.
for 2. I guess Jeff still has the option to return a forest to untap the priest if he wanted to use it at end turn. He also still has 1 green mana available as well. There's a Pyroclasm. Ooh.
Ooh, Caller of the Claw could do some serious work here.
And he has the mana to get it.
Yeah.
Okay, so he has 4 mana floating, is that correct? Or he
Oh,
just
all
has
right, there's Caller.
just has the Caller. All right,
This is some strange looking bears.
yeah. The Mesa Pegasus tokens.
2,
All
4,
right.
6, 8.
I mean, this is not the way that I expected elves to. I mean, I guess it's probably not that uncommon, but yeah, 3/1/1s exchange into 2/4/4s feels pretty good, I guess, from Jeff's perspective. And he's still got a
Yeah.
squee in hand that if, I mean, I guess he doesn't have the another caller. Plus, caller doesn't count tokens that die. But
Correct.
all right, Gemstone Mine is Mike finds 3 counters. We'll see if the Gemstone Mine will help us.
Lightning Angel.
Angel. So the math is pretty interesting here, I guess. Jeff goes down to 17, while Mike is at 9. If Jeff were, I guess the with anger being in the graveyard, I think Mike is just dead. Like, there's probably just some. I guess there's no like small creature he can get that packs a punch. Is he getting another?
He gets another Caller.
Okay.
Interesting. I wonder if he knows it's non-token.
I don't know. So if you attack, okay, so I think you block a token. You take 6. I mean, it's a 2/2 flash. I think that's all Jeff's like thinking it is right now. Which I
Well,
think,
and if I guess if his first Caller dies, then he'll get at least 1 token, and he
Yeah.
still has 4 power on the board.
yeah.
Yeah, Jared, I think you're right. I think it's second Pyroclasm Insurance.
Yeah, but like the Lightning Angel could still block if it's just 2/2s. But like then any other creature that comes down with haste is enough. Because Mike's at 3.
Yeah.
All right. Well, it looks like the turbo survival of the fittest has put Jeff in a commanding position in game 2. And I think he's going to take this one and take it to a third game.
We shall see.
I mean, as the board stands, like Mike needs to find something because this is a lethal attack, even against a Lightning Angel. Right? A Medley Mage comes down. I guess
You mean Caller of the Claw?
do you respond? Do you respond to this Medley
Yeah,
Mage?
I think I do. I think I flash it in.
I mean, Mike's already played a land, right? He played the Gemstone Mine. I don't
Yeah.
think like the only card I think you would fear would be Pyroclasm from the list. I think I would flash it in. Yep.
Yeah, I think he played it. I don't think he played the mine this turn. I think maybe he played the second Reflecting Pool or
Oh yeah,
another
you're
land.
right. Yeah, because it's that 1 counter. So, um, all right. Mike's letting us know what he named with this meddling mage.
All right. Symbiote.
Okay. So Mike is representing a removal spell, but if you just have any 1/1, it's just cast a squeak. Get the squeak. Get over there. Get over there. Do it. Let's do it. Come on, squee. Come on, buddy. No, that's not who we want. We don't want to see a Multani's acolyte.
Boo.
This is the saddest squee has ever been. Like he's like, I was ready there to make a difference, and Multani's acolyte
Let me in, coach.
had to steal the show. Oh man. All right, so Jeff does take it down. The removal spell that Mike did have was not enough thanks to haste, and we are tied at 1 apiece.
All right. It's getting interesting, folks.
I mean, we didn't really see anything surprising, I guess, from sideboard perspective. We saw the pyroclasms, which we obviously knew about, that were going to come in. And I don't think we saw any sideboard cards from Jeff. Is that correct? We saw a second Caller of the Claw.
Yeah. Folks at home, Mike Arnold wants you all to know that he bolted himself, not one of Jeff's creatures. So,
all right.
Classic older Magic player goes out on their own terms.
Robin saying that he had to take a damage to cast Bolt anyways. But then, yeah. All right, who do you like in game number 3?
I think if Jeff plays an early survival, then I like Jeff, but otherwise I think I like Mike.
I don't know. I just feel like the survival elves deck just seems way more powerful than what Mike has. I mean, obviously, like Meddling Mage does a good job of making Jeff a much more fair deck, but yeah.
I think that Mike being on the play is a pretty big deal in this match.
Sure.
Or in this last game. It's going to be harder for Jeff to sneak a survival into play.
I mean, those Elvish Spirit Guides do help.
That they do.
What is the most fair thing you've ever done with an Elvish Spirit Guide?
Oh, wow. Maybe just like cast it normally and attacked with it.
Okay. I mean, I had one in my Junk Zoo list for a while, and the idea was, oh, it's a mana when you want it and a very overcosted creature when you don't. It was not worth it, but I probably cast a Call of the Herd, like either a front or a back half of a Call of the Herd. That's probably the fairest thing I've done with an Elvish Spirit Guide.
Seems pretty fair.
Yeah. Do you know what the most unfair thing you've done with an Elvish Spirit Guide is?
Just run it in combo decks.
Turbo
Hermit Druid or Greater Good or one of those for sure. At least in Premodern.
Yeah.
And I've run it in other combo decks and other formats. That's the best way to use Elvish Spirit Guide, obviously.
Turn 1 channel into Fireball. That's a good use of Elvish Spirit Guide. Though you still need red mana, though.
Forest Petal.
Okay.
Folks are saying they like it in Rexer. Excuse me.
Elvish Spirit Guide?
I don't think I've seen it in many Premodern lists.
I mean, I haven't seen Recurring Nightmare survival lists very often to begin with, so a lot of times, like it sounds appealing, but then it's kind of like when you compare it to the decks that use survival that have like a combo finish, it's kind of like, do you really just want to be grinding an advantage when you could just kill your opponent? So that's usually how I deviate from the Rexer lists that are in my head.
All right. So Jeff taking a look at his second hand here. Is that right?
I honestly don't know.
I think it's his second hand. Oh,
A
no.
mulligan to oblivion. This is a
Never a good sign after much cogitation. The player looks at the top card of their library.
that's a word I don't know if I've ever heard.
It's a fancy term for thinking.
I got it out of context clues.
I gotta use them $5 words every once in a while, Michael.
You gotta earn that MTG PhD title back.
Gotta reclaim that.
Yeah.
All right. So he's gonna go to 5. We'll see how it works out. I saw the Duress crew is watching in between rounds at a
Yeah.
meetup. Right on. Welcome,
Hello,
folks.
duress friends.
I played a few of you guys at LobsterCon. All really awesome dudes.
Yeah,
If
I
anyone's
got really
interested.
thrown off because I'm like, this guy definitely has duress in his deck, and then he played goblins, and then I died. But yeah.
All right, so Jeff's taking a look. Ooh. All right, he's just thinking about which ones to put on the bottom. Okay, so
Oh, that was only 2 cards, right?
yep,
Okay.
he went to 5.
Okay. I thought he had gone down to 4. All right.
No, no, no.
All right. Well, he's got a fighting chance then. Start with a wooded foothills. It'll get a forest. Will the turn 1 play be an elf? Will it
It's a
be
very
an insect or will it be an enchantment?
I was going to say it's a very conspicuous island over there.
Oh, it's an
Okay.
elf. Can't annul that guy.
Yeah. Swords that. Oh, it's a bolt.
All right. Not in exchange. I think Jeff like is surprised and
Nope. That one's okay.
ooh, your second land is Cradle.
Has to pass. Kind
Then
of a
maybe
bummer.
he did not want that elf bolted, but
Yeah. I can see the future.
what does the future hold, Flint?
3 cards over 2 turns.
So
Mikey likes it.
I have a question. If you go to a psychic and you knock on their door, do they ask who's there? And you're just like, mm, I don't think I want to go to the psychic anymore.
I think you have to say. I think you have to ask them like, "Hey, who am I? Tell me who I am, because you're expecting me, right?"
Yeah.
And then, regardless of what they say, you just giggle and walk away because no one should squander their money on psychics.
Yeah.
All right. Speaking of psychic, how did Mike Arnold know that that plains was on top of his deck?
I don't know. But maybe we should spend money on Mike the psychic.
Yeah.
So if Mike has a card like Counterspell, would you be willing to tap out for a Lightning Angel, put the shields down for 1 turn, and resolve that and try and ride that to victory? Or do you think he's gonna wait and play it even super slow? Ooh.
I think he's going to wait.
So this morph is a Nantuko Vigilante, right? Like
Yep.
is there any
I hope it's Dwarven Minor, but I know it's not.
the
'Cause then Jeff would be
zombie
cheating.
cutthroat? Right? It's always a zombie
Or
cutthroat.
it's not Dwarven Minor. Is it Blast Minor? Dwarven
Blast.
Blast Minor? Is that the
Yeah,
morph?
yeah.
Yeah. So I should say I hope it's Dwarven Blast Minor, but not as sexy as Dwarven Minor, though.
What if it was a zombie cutthroat?
Is that
Ooh,
5 life you have to pay for the cutthroat?
yeah. Uh,
Holy God.
Yeah, but can you
I
imagine
don't think I've ever played that card.
someone bolts your morph and you're just like nice lightning bolt.
Got him.
And if they have swords to plowshares, you could be like, I could gain 2 or I could pay 5 to gain 3.
All right, this just in. Mike Hoyp running 4 zombie cutthroats in his next monthly deck. Look out, Slide X.
Yeah. They're like, yes, please. All right, lightning angel in play. I do believe
right.
Jeff is at 16. That's the Wooded Foothills, but if you want to
Yes,
let them know.
correct. I will let them know.
We may get to the point where life totals matter, so. Like a worse
Right.
Phyrexian Scuda? I don't know. One costs 3 mana, one costs 4. That's a big difference.
It's like a surprise, Scooter.
But you might argue that a 5/5 is a lot different than a 3/4.
I mean, if you want to get technical, I suppose.
Yeah, but one can be disguised as a face down Nantuko Vigilante.
Uh-oh, Jeff going for survival. Mike, no hesitation, cracking the Flooded Strand. Jeff just setting it in his graveyard. There's the annul.
I have an annul. That's what Mike says. It's right here. Okay, so
Jeff seems pretty despondent about it, so I don't think he has a second survival, but if he did, he might actually be able to squeeze it through. Mike's only got 2 cards left.
all right. The Lightning Angel does it just makes like Jeff's go wide plan and kind of chip in for damage so awkward because you have to exchange creature every time you want to chip in. And the Lightning Angel gets to apply a clock while it still can play defense, so. Ooh.
Oh, is he going to kill the morph?
No, it's because it's a zombie cutthroat. He doesn't want it to flip up.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
So Finhorn
Forgot about
Elves and Kieran Ranger down for the count. Oh, but shouldn't he have morphed up his Nantuko Vigilante? Is there a different morph? He should have used the cradle at that point, right?
I mean, he's just got the orangutan, but isn't the vigilante like a 4/3?
It's a 3/2.
Oh, it's only a 3/2. Alas. Pretty good pressure.
Yeah, a second one. It's gonna make quick work of the Elves deck, I think. 2 mana off the cradle. We're going for a priest. I would say if it were survival, there might be a fighting chance, but
Yeah. It might be curtains for Jeff. Curtains, I say.
gonna go down to 1. I'm glad it's not a zombie cutthroat. That's all I can say.
I was hoping he was going to portent Jeff.
Uh,
Just for you, man.
have we had a portent on the PSS? I don't like an opponent portent. I don't think we have.
I don't think that we have, but I know you really, really want one.
I'm pretty sure I have like when I've commentated for like a spring playing or some other match, but yeah, we do see. Ooh, the future set came in. So the Nantuko Vigilante did have a target, but yeah, the Lightning Angels really just came down, and the rest of the spells kind of mopped up Jeff and keep the survival out of play and make Jeff play a fair game. And what's better than winning a fair game than Star Spangled Slaughter?
Yeah, pretty rough when you don't have survival or tangle wire.
Okay.
I still think it's like you're like 40 to 45 chance to win. It really depends. If Patriot can get into the fair game, then I think Patriot can pull it out. But then, as we saw, kind of like in game two, if you just kind of have the nuts, like there's only so much that you can do. You know, you're trying to fight mana on mana, and you're just going to fall behind, even with how efficient your spells are. Like the elves are just going to pull ahead with the crazy draws.
Yeah. I was saying he gave me guys just the glimpse of hope that he might not have that annul, but he crushed my dreams.
Yeah, I hope it was an exciting match, for the viewers to watch. I've always enjoyed this match. There's a lot of decision points, a lot of difficult decisions that you need to make. Like when do you go for it? When do you play conservatively? And yeah, it can be very 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 tight. But I've really loved having counterspell specifically for this matchup because you can just shut something down entirely.
Yeah, I will
Mana
say
leak does very little.
It's a little better than memory lapse.
Yeah.
the one thing that like
You're
kind
lucky.
of changes the dynamic of this matchup is like the evolution of the Elf decks I think have leaned toward cutting Tangle Wire and playing Elvish Spirit Guide. And that
Yeah.
like that actually makes a big difference. A lot of times I think you want to put Priest of Titanium into play, but here like sneaking in a survival under like Meddling Mage or Counterspell mana is something that like you could take advantage in this matchup. And so I think that's an interesting dynamic that like I do think, Mike, a lot of your cards line up really well against what Jeff's trying to do, but there's always that glimmer of hope that you could sneak that survival into play. So
That was my game one decision, really. Like, ultimately, the game wasn't that close, but I drew a 7 that had survival in it. Obviously, I was on the draw. And the only question in my mind was like, how aggressively do I mulligan to ESG survival? And not that aggressively, I don't think, because the odds of just getting that are just bad. I don't just want to fold. I had 2 acolytes in my draw, and that's like sometimes can just be good enough. And if he just doesn't have it, I get a survival on the table turn 2. Another glimmer of hope because he plays the planes, and obviously turn 2 he has to play the meddling mage to lock me off of survival, and he did.
Yep.
I was quite fortunate with my mana all match. I know this deck gets a lot of hate, just like naturally have one of each basic land type and double blue available. So yeah, cantrips are your mana base in pre-modern sometimes. That really is what it comes down to. But I took out 2 counter spells, the Exalted Angels and the Mother of Runes, and then I brought in, of course, the Pyroclasms, the Furnaces, just to be able to take out Squee, and then Future Sight +2 Nulls right there. Because really, like, I don't want to be countering his creatures too much. Like the creature that I want to counter is like Masticore.
Sure.
So I figure that otherwise, the removal will just line up against his creatures just fine, and then I have that turn 1 interaction for their survival, and still a hard counter for Masticore. Except, of course, when he turn 1s their survival. I was wondering how good that would be because I've never played that version of the deck. Turns out it was quite good.
Yeah, we were talking about that. We were also talking about how Furnace is really good against Genesis.
Yeah, that was. So obviously, I sided in the Love Monkey, and I debated how many Naturalize I should bring in, just because Furnace is really good, because I wasn't obviously like getting off my Squee plan or my Anger plan or my Genesis plan. I ended up bringing none in and just rolling the dice. Again, like my primary game plan being, I just need to land a survival like real quick, and otherwise it's really tough to win.
Yeah, that's fair.
Totally fair.
Any questions from the viewers? Any things that they enjoyed about the match?
They
like
enjoy
Jeff's artwork.
And they enjoy that your Mike, that your stuff is on your cupboards and not your fridge.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Absolutely.
My
wife would not stand for it on the fridge.
Everyone's so observant about everything going on. So, I guess I'd be like, I'm just scrolling back to see if the chat had anything going on, but doesn't really look like it. But
Well, it's it could be a crazy week 7 right here. So I'm very fortunate to be in that 3-3 pile, and I thank Jeff for coming in and representing the elf tribe. So someone had to bring the deck, and I'm glad that it was him.
Same.
All right. With that,
Cool.
players. Well, you have something to say, Flint? Go ahead.
Oh, I said cool.
Oh,
That was it.
I'll say we'll let players go as we get our 4th round ready to go. So nice work, both of you.
Thanks, guys. Good games, Michael.
Yep.
Good match,
Good
guys.
night, everybody. All right, take care.
All right, let's take a quick break as we get round number 4 set up. We will be right back, so don't go anywhere. Thanks for watching, but we'll be back soon.